A subscriber had reached out to me and asked, what do you do to keep going when life is pulling you down? And for me, in moments when life is really starting to get really hard, it's really hard to endure, life is just really, really challenging you. For me, if I'm going through things with my disability, if I'm going through things with me being in the hospital with my respiratory state, if I'm dealing with things personally, if I'm dealing with things professionally, the thing that I simply do is I know that whatever it is that I am going through, it is temporary. Like every single thing I am going through, it is temporary. On the days when my disability is not doing the greatest, because my disability is progressive. So as I continue to get older, I continue to become weaker. My muscles slowly start to deteriorate. And not only knowing that, but having the experiences of being able to do something one day to having not being able to do it the next can really affect you mentally, as you can imagine. And there are going to be many moments where there are going to be things that are beyond your control. And especially in the moments that are beyond your control, the thing that I simply do is let go of the things that are beyond my control. Anything that I cannot do, no matter, like, again, back to my disability, I cannot control what tomorrow will bring. I cannot control what next week will bring. I cannot control how my muscles are going to be. Am I going to be able to feed myself is a really big question. Am I going to live a long life is another really big question. There are a lot of things that are beyond my control. But however, the thing that is within my control is my attitude within that time frame. On the days when my disability gets tough, because it will get tough, and it does get tough, on those days, I simply just understand that whatever it is I'm going through, it is temporary. And if what I'm going through, for example, is there was a moment in time where I had a medical procedure and it didn't go too well, where I had nerve damage and I couldn't feel my hand whatsoever. Like this right here, I could not feel at all. And I didn't know that when you cannot feel, you lose your grip because you lose your grip. I didn't know that. When my hand went numb and I tried picking up my fork, it completely slipped out of my hand, and that alone broke me down. You know, I started crying at the restaurant table because, again, being able to feed myself to then not being able to do it literally the next day, that, as you can imagine, can really get to you. Now, this within itself was a journey, and I do have a feeling now that experience happened in December 2019. And again, where I was going with that is in moments like that, some things can feel permanent, but you have to find a way to get through those things. Me having my numbness like this lasted for several weeks. So what did I do during those 7 weeks? I had to adapt to the situation. So where I'm going with this is when times get tough, because life will get tough. And in moments when so many things seem to be, your whole world seems to be falling apart. And when you experience something that really takes you over the edge, let go of the things that are beyond your control and focus on the things that are within your control. The thing that was beyond my control was what was going to happen. Was I going to regain feeling? Was I not? I didn't know. That was beyond my control. But what was within my control was my attitude within that process. It took several weeks for me to overcome and get through what I went through. Because not only did my hand go numb, but it eventually led me down to a dark mental state, causing me to be on a psychiatric hold, where I no longer had control of myself. I was placed 5150, and the hospital had control over me. Anything I say or do did not matter. So why am I telling you this? The reason why I'm telling you this is because when life gets tough, because again, life will get tough. And just when you think things are going bad, it can always get worse. Me having my hand feel like this felt like that was my rock bottom. And things did get worse because a lot of stuff was going on with my personal life. And this happened. I had no feeling, which ultimately led me down a very dark path mentally. And because of that dark path, that process within itself was very hard to climb out of, to get out of. In moments when it gets tough, find a way to endure your situation. In moments when it gets tough, adapt to your situation. For the longest time, I couldn't feed myself, but I had to adapt. How can I hold my utensil to help me feed myself? How can I adapt to pick up my drink? How can I adapt to pick up my phone? Because again, not only did I not have no feeling, but I didn't know that when you have no feeling, you lose your grip. I couldn't pick up the TV remote. I couldn't pick up my phone. It was a very big challenge to handle my wheelchair because I'm used to one way. But because I have no feeling, I had to adapt. So when life gets tough, because it will get tough, adapt to your situation. Focus on your attitude, because it is your attitude that can help you overcome anything. What does your attitude look like when life gets tough? When life becomes really, really hard? When life is challenging you? Do you feel like the whole world is going against you? What does your attitude look like in those moments? Do you feel sorry for yourself? And it is okay to feel sorry for yourself for a little bit, especially when it's something new that you have never experienced and gone through. But what is not okay is to stay there. Eventually, you're going to have to pick your head up, find a way to endure whatever it is that you are currently going through, whatever challenge is in front of you. How can you get through it? Don't be scared of the mountain. The best way for you to get through anything is to not look at the entire process or the entire journey, but to simply focus taking one step at a time. When my hand went numb, it took several weeks for me to regain feeling. What I simply did is I kept doing this. I was able to move my hand, but I had no feeling. But because I was able to do this, I told myself, I somehow convinced myself that the connection is lost, but the outlet is there. All I needed to do was connect to the outlet. I know that may sound interesting because it really does sound weird. But again, I was able to do this. So my mind registered, you can still move your hand, although I wasn't able to feel it, but my mind was able to register to do this. Because in order to do this, your mind operates this, right? Your mind is incredibly powerful. And because I was able to do this, I somehow convinced myself, keep doing this. Minutes turned into hours, hours turned into days, days turned into weeks. And eventually, I regained feeling. And back to the whole psychiatric process and that story, is not only was I dealing with this, but now I'm dealing with being on a psychiatric hold because simply of my own actions. A lot of stuff was happening personally where it became really hard for me to bear through. Through a screen, I'm always smiling and I'm always happy and I always appear to have it all together. I always appear to be somehow the strong one. I seem to have it all figured out. So how can someone like that do a complete 180, having a severe mental breakdown, causing himself to be on a psychiatric hold? And I learned that when life gets tough, because this was tough. Things can always get worse. In my case, this was tough. Me being on a psychiatric hold was worse. That was my ultimate rock bottom. So for me to you, is when life gets tough, because it will get tough, is how can you adapt to the situation? What can you do to make things better? How is your attitude within that process? And when things get worse, because eventually some things will get worse, do not drown in your own self-pity. Eventually you are going to have to pause everything you are doing, take a step back, look at everything from a bigger picture, and come to the understanding to, what am I doing to cause all of this? Despite how right you may feel, despite how much you may think that what you are doing is the right thing, ask yourself this one question. If I am so right, then why am I in this situation? Because ultimately, everything you have done has led you right where you are. Therefore, in order to change your situation, you have to start implementing small changes within your daily routine. To make it to the next step, you don't have to do giant leaps all the time. Simply just move inch by inch by inch. Move at your own pace. As long as you are making progress, as long as you can find the ability to endure, if you can find the strength to look yourself in the mirror and start to understand that individual in the most best way you can look yourself in the mirror and understand who you are. Only then will you be able to understand not only everything that has ultimately led you to where you are, but that experience alone will lead you to a self-discovery, helping you become who you were predestined to be. I believe that everybody has a story. And within every story, there is other people that too have a story that ultimately influence our story, which influence our choices, our decision making. With that in mind, you get to understand that we all make choices, whether they are right or wrong. At the end of the day, we have to reflect off of our choices, off of our everyday decision making, and ask ourselves that one big question. Again, if I keep doing this, am I going to like where I end up? And if the answer is no, then you know what you need to do. Focus one step at a time. Again, don't look at the entire staircase. Continue to put one foot in front of the other. That right there is your key to getting to where it is you want to go. 3 things I want to talk about in this video. 1, how it always works out. 2, do you have any regrets in life? And 3, the goal isn't to remember everything. In life, when we are in the midst of going through so many challenges and obstacles, we don't understand why we are going through such pain. We don't understand why we go to the hospital, why we are admitted, why are we in and out of the hospital, why we are constantly waking up to the same thing every day, why we constantly wake up to agony, pain, adversity. Why do we go through so much turmoil within our lifetime? We don't know. In the middle, when you are in the middle of it, we don't know. But what I learned is when you are able to overcome, when you're able to shift your mindset a little bit, you're able to have a shift of perspective to your situation. You allow yourself more of a fighting chance to get through what it is you are going through. You don't see as challenges. You see them as opportunities to help you grow. You do not look at obstacles as obstacles. That you don't look at those obstacles to hold you back. They are not there to put you to stop you, to hold you back, or to hold you down, or to prevent you from propelling forward. You look at those obstacles as ways to help you become stronger, so that way you can overcome what it is in front of you, but also to break through what it is that also lies ahead. You have to, when you're able to have a shift of perspective to your current situation, that is how you allow yourself more of a fighting chance. A shift of perspective that allows you to overcome what it is you are going through. When you're able to have more of a positive and optimistic outlook towards your life, you allow yourself a higher probable chance to get through what it is you are going through. And again, in the beginning, we don't know why we go through certain things. Example, I never understood why I had to have back surgeries in 2010, when I was, I think, the age of 10. I never understood why I had to have back surgery. And not just that, but I never understood why I had a severe infection that caused me to have more surgeries and more surgeries and more surgeries on top of that. Just with my back alone, I was in a span of I was in the hospital for 2.5 months because I had caught a very bad severe infection within my back because of my surgeries. Just with my back alone, I have had, from the last, when I was counting, I remember counting every single time I had to go into the OR. I stopped at the number 38. I stopped at the number 38. Those surgeries didn't stop at 38. No, I stopped counting at the number 38. At the time, I didn't understand why I was going through such pain at such a young age. Such a young age. Imagine that. Born with a disability, in a wheelchair, limited literally from the start. I was literally born to be challenged. Literally. How did I overcome so many things? Everything is a shift of perspective. You cannot look at the challenges in front of you as challenges. You have to look at those challenges to help you become stronger. You cannot look at the obstacles as obstacles. Look at them as opportunities to help you become stronger. You cannot look at the hurdles in front of you as hurdles. And you look at them as to what wisdom can you take away from those adversities. In the middle of it, I never understood why I was going through such pain, again, at such an early age. But this is what I learned. When you are in the middle of going through so much turmoil, adversity, we oftentimes don't understand why we are currently going through what it is we are going through. However, when we are able to overcome those challenges, when we are able to put one foot in front of the other, when we are able to just focus, taking it one day at a time, what happens? We reflect back. I find it amazing how when you're in the middle of going through so much turmoil and it feels like nothing has changed, when we look back, everything is different. That's what the journey is about. The journey is that your life isn't there to break you. Your life is to help you overcome what it is you are going through. It is preparing you for what's to come. Your adversity, your challenges, your pain, your setbacks, every single thing that is in front of you is strengthening you, is bringing you wisdom, teaching you life lessons that nobody else will know but you. Why? Because nobody else can walk the path that you are on. Your shoes are designed just to fit your feet. That is how we are able to if we are able to have a shift of perspective, life isn't there to break me, but life is actually teaching me how to create me so I can reach my full potential. Again, when you're in the middle of undergoing so much turmoil, agony, pain, adversity, those moments are the moments that teach us the most. Those moments are the moments that help us become stronger. Those moments are the moments that help us develop more empathy, because you too are able to look at the person who is undergoing challenges, turmoil, and setbacks, adversity. You're able to look at them and be like, and you're able to understand. I know what it is like to feel. I know what it is like to be in a complete mental state of desperation. There is no hope, and you can lend a helping hand. This is what I know. It may help you get there. There are going to be people you come across that you can help. You have crawled out of what it is they are going through. You can give them every single tool and the knowledge on how to utilize these tools so they can crawl out of what it is they are going through. But it is only up to them to decide whether or not they will utilize such tools. Your purpose is to help other people. But how do you help other people? By first helping yourself. The second topic I wanted to talk about is, do you have any regrets in life? I personally have no regrets in life. Sure, there are things in my life where I know I could have improved on. There are things that I wish I didn't do, I didn't say. Things that I wish I was able to do better. Sure, we all have those days. But I have learned that you cannot have regrets in life. You cannot hold on to the things you wish you had. You have to find ways. Listen, I came up with a philosophy. It was along the lines of, who you are is who you were, and who you were is who you are. Excuse me. Meaning, if it wasn't for your past, you wouldn't be who you are. If it wasn't for those struggles, challenges, obstacles, adversity, pain, if it wasn't for every single thing that has happened in your life, you wouldn't be who you are. Every single decision and choice we make ultimately leads us to where we are. In order to change where we currently are, in order to heed towards a different direction, we have to begin change with the steps moving forward. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Those regrets you may have, those things you wish you didn't do or you didn't say, reflect on them. Apologize if necessary. Reflect on those moments and find ways on how you can improve those moments for the future. If the same moment happens to cross your path, same conversation even, if it crosses your path, how can you improve that form of communication style? How can you improve to have a better experience for the next time? What can you do differently? And you start to do that with just about every moment, every experience you start to have. Reflect on what you did, what you didn't do. Reflect on what you did, does it need improving? Reflect on what you didn't do. Should I have done that? Why or why not? What can I improve on? How can I have a better experience? Not just for myself, but for those around me. What can I do? Because again, in order to help others, you have to help yourself. The third topic I wanted to talk about is the goal isn't to remember everything. Yes, pay attention to the important lessons of your life, but everything else, it's you cannot live your life trying to remember every single thing that has happened in your life. You cannot hold on to that much weight. When you go along this path, don't try to remember every single thing that happens to you or why it happens to you. Let some things go. How someone made you feel. Yeah, if you're working towards something and someone gives you a word of discouragement, or in today's world we call them haters. Someone tries to take a jab at you, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, those moments are going to stick with you. Because Maya Angelou said it best. She said, you may forget what someone did, but you will never forget how someone made you feel. Right? So yeah, you are going to have experiences that you cannot forget, you cannot let go, you cannot forget to remember. You cannot wipe out from your memory. When I say the goal isn't to remember everything, I'm talking about the things you do a good deed. You don't have to remember you did a good deed to that person. Why? Because you are doing a good deed out of the kindness of your heart. You don't have to remember, I did this to this person. I did that. When such experience had happened, I did this. Don't hold on to the good deeds you do within your life. Just do them. Why? Because it is out of the kindness of your heart. Again, the goal isn't to remember everything. The goal is to take away and absorb the moments, the lessons that hold the most value for you.